In today's video, I will be talking about some cool and interesting facts about the nation of Israel. So, buckle up and let's go. The State of Israel is a country in the Middle East, located at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. It is bounded to the north by Lebanon, to the northeast by Syria, to the east and southeast by Jordan, to the southwest by Egypt, and to the west by the Mediterranean Sea. Jerusalem is the seat of government and the proclaimed capital, although the latter status has not received wide international recognition. Israel is regarded by Jews, Christians and Muslims as the biblical Holy Land. Its most sacred sites are in Jerusalem. Within its old city, the Temple Mount complex includes the Dome of the Rock Shrine, the historic Western Wall, Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Israel's financial hub, Tel Aviv, is known for its Bauhaus architecture and beaches. The country, which is located in the west of the Asian continent, has its capital city as Jerusalem. The total population of the country was about 8.884 million in 2018. When did Israel become a nation? On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel. U.S. President Harry S. Truman recognized the new nation on the same day. Is Israel a rich country? Israel was ranked 19th on 2016 UN Human Development Index, indicating very high development. It is considered a high-income country by the World Bank. Israel also has a very high life expectancy at birth. Why is Israel famous? Israel is the only Jewish country, and Jews all over the world think of Israel as their spiritual home. Israel is the only country in the world that has more trees today than it had 50 years ago. Israel has more museums per capita than any other country, including the world's only one underwater. On a per capita basis, Israel tops the list of countries when it comes to the annual production of scientific papers. What are best things to see and do in Israel? Tel Aviv, with almost 4 million people in the greater Tel Aviv area, this beach city on the Mediterranean has a lively, cosmopolitan vibe. The Dead Sea. Jerusalem. Biblical sites. The Negev Desert. Masada National Park and Fortress. You can also dive Israel's reefs and wrecks. Israel's lesser-known archaeological sites. Take a ship tour of the biblical Sea of Galilee. According to Wikipedia, the Sea of Galilee, also known as Lake Tiberias or Kinneret, is a freshwater lake in Israel. It is the lowest freshwater lake on Earth and the second lowest lake in the world, after the Dead Sea, which is a saltwater lake, at levels between 215 meters and 209 meters below sea level. It is approximately 53 kilometers in circumference, about 21 kilometers long, and 13 kilometers wide. Its area is 166.7 square kilometers at its fullest, and its maximum depth is approximately 43 meters. The lake is fed partly by underground springs, but its main source is the Jordan River, which flows through it from north to south and exits the sea at the Degania Dam. In the New Testament, much of the ministry of Jesus occurs on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. In those days, there was a continuous ribbon development of settlements and villages around the lake and plenty of trade and ferrying by boat. The Synoptic Gospels of Mark 1:14-20, Matthew 4:18-22, and Luke 5:1-11 describe how Jesus recruited 4 of his apostles from the shores of the Sea of Galilee, the fishermen Simon and his brother Andrew and the brothers John and James. One of Jesus' famous teaching episodes, the Sermon on the Mount, is supposed to have been given on a hill overlooking the Sea of Galilee. Many of his miracles are also said to have occurred here, including his walking on water, calming the storm, the disciples and the miraculous catch of fish, and his feeding 5,000 people. In John's Gospel, the sea provides the setting for Jesus' third post-resurrection appearance to his disciples, John chapter 21. While in Israel, take a walk to Nazareth, the childhood home of Jesus. Nazareth is the largest city in the northern district of Israel. Nazareth is known as the Arab capital of Israel. In 2019, its population was 77,445. The inhabitants are predominantly Arab citizens of Israel, of whom 69% are Muslim and 30.9% Christian. Upper Nazareth, declared a separate city in June 1974, is built alongside Old Nazareth, and had a Jewish population of 40,312 in 2014. In the New Testament, the town is described as the childhood home of Jesus, and as such as a center of Christian pilgrimage, with many shrines commemorating biblical events. In Luke's Gospel, Nazareth is first described as a town of Galilee and home of Mary, Luke chapter 1 verse 26. Following the birth and early epiphanial events of chapter 2 of Luke's Gospel, Mary, Joseph and Jesus returned to Galilee, to their own city, Nazareth. Visit the Dome of the Rock, also known by Jews as Temple Mount. The Dome of the Rock is an Islamic shrine located on the Temple Mount in the Old City of Jerusalem. It was initially completed in 691–92 CE at the order of Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik during the Second Fitna on the site of the Second Jewish Temple, destroyed during the Roman siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE. The original dome collapsed in 1015 and was rebuilt in 1022–23. The Dome of the Rock is in its core one of the oldest extant works of Islamic architecture. Its architecture and mosaics were patterned after nearby Byzantine churches and palaces, although its outside appearance has been significantly changed in the Ottoman period and again in the modern period, notably with the addition of the gold-plated roof, in 1959–1961 and again in 1993. The octagonal plan of the structure may have been influenced by the Byzantine Church of the Seat of Mary built between 451 and 458 on the road between Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Go into the biblical wilderness in the Negev of Israel. The Negev is a large desert region in southern Israel. Its main city is Beersheba. Here, the Old City is home to the Negev Museum of Art, with contemporary Israeli and international exhibitions. Nearby is Abraham's Well, a cultural center with interactive exhibits about the story of Abraham. East of the city, Tel Beersheva is a prehistoric settlement mound with ruins. The origin of the word, Negev, is from the Hebrew root, which denotes dry or wipe dry. In the Bible, Negev is also used for the direction to the south. The term is defined as a man who lives in a desert. Biblical references such as Psalm chapter 126 verse 4, "Restore our fortunes, O Lord," like the watercourses in the Negev, point to the semi-arid character of the region from early recorded times. Visit the Holy City of Jerusalem. The City of Jerusalem is sacred to many religious traditions, including the Abrahamic religions Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which consider it a holy city. Some of the most sacred places for each of these religions are found in Jerusalem, and the one shared between all three is the Temple Mount. Jerusalem is also central for many Christians, being the city where Jesus Christ preached, was crucified, and buried. Crusades were fought during the Middle Ages to recover the Holy Land, and the city remains a pilgrimage site for Christians to this day. The city is also connected to the beginning of Islam. Join the prayers at the Wailing Wall by the Temple Mount. The Western Wall, Wailing Wall, often shortened to the Kutel, known in Islam as the Barak Wall, is an ancient limestone wall in the Old City of Jerusalem. It is a relatively small segment of a far longer ancient retaining wall, known also in its entirety as the Western Wall. The Wailing Wall is the most religious site in the world for the Jewish people. Located in the Old City of Jerusalem, thousands of people journey to the wall every year to visit and recite prayers. The wall's holiness in Judaism is a result of its proximity to the Temple Mount. Because of the Temple Mount entry restrictions, the wall is the holiest place where Jews are permitted to pray, though the foundation stone, the most sacred site in the Jewish faith, lies behind it. Every time a Jew engages with the Torah, the light of his or her soul ignites, which is why he or she moves like the flame of a candle. This striking image illustrates the desire of many religious Jews to connect directly with God by learning and praying. Book a stay at Tel Aviv, the commercial and business center of Israel. Tel Aviv, a city on Israel's Mediterranean coast, is marked by stark 1930s Bauhaus buildings, thousands of which are clustered in the White City architectural area. Museums include Beit Hatfutsat, whose multimedia exhibits illustrate the history of Jewish communities worldwide. The Eretz Israel Museum covers the country's archaeology, folklore and crafts, and features an on-site excavation of 12th century BC. Ruins. The municipality of Tel Aviv-Yafo is nicknamed the non-stop city, but its world-famous nightlife scene is just one of the many facets of this diamond of a city. Tel Aviv is also Israel's second largest in population after Jerusalem. Visit the ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah. In the Bible, Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by God because the residents lived a life of sin. According to the book of Genesis, the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he destroyed these cities, and all the country about, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and all things that spring from the earth. While the findings come from the excavation of the Telephone El Hammam archaeological site in Jordan, many believe that the same place was once known as Sodom. Yes, as in Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible, Torah and Quran, the cities of sin supposedly destroyed with brimstone and fire sent from God. Dip yourself in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a salt lake bordered by Jordan to the east and Israel and the West Bank to the west. It lies in the Jordan Rift Valley, and its main tributary is the Jordan River. Its surface and shores are 430.5 meters below sea level, Earth's lowest elevation on land. The sea is called dead because its high salinity prevents macroscopic aquatic organisms, such as fish and aquatic plants, from living in it, though minuscule quantities of bacteria and microbial fungi are present. In times of flood, the salt content of the Dead Sea can drop from its usual 35% to 30% or lower. There is no such thing as swimming in the Dead Sea. When you sit, your butt touches down in the water. It essentially feels as though you're floating in a pool with a plastic noodle. Also, the Dead Sea is actually not a sea at all, but a lake that's made up of about 30% salt. Visit the Damascus Gate, which separates the old city of Jerusalem from the new city of Jerusalem. Damascus Gate is one of the main gates of the ancient city of Jerusalem. It is located in the wall on the city's northwest side and connects to a highway leading out to Nablus, which in the Hebrew Bible. In its current form, the gate was built in 1537 under the rule of Suleiman the Magnificent. Beneath the current gate, the remains of an earlier gate can be seen, dating back to the time of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, who visited the region between 130 and 131 CE. Take note that the Damascus Gate is just one of the original 8 gates leading into Jerusalem's walled Old City. Swim in the River Jordan in Israel. The Jordan River or River Jordan, also known as Nahr Al Sharieat, is a 251-kilometer-long river in the Middle East that flows roughly north to south through the Sea of Galilee and onto the Dead Sea. Jordan and the Golan Heights border the river to the east, while the West Bank and Israel lie to its west. The river holds major significance in Judaism and Christianity since the Bible says that the Israelites crossed it into the Promised Land and that Jesus of Nazareth was baptized by John the Baptist in the River Jordan. According to the Bible, God dried up the Jordan and made the people of Israel pass over and enter the Promised Land. Pay your respect at the Tomb Garden. Located just outside the city walls of Jerusalem, you will find the Garden Tomb, a possible location for the crucifixion, burial and resurrection of Christ Jesus. Near to the Damascus Gate and standing in the shadow of Skull Hill, you will find this beautiful garden with its ancient empty tomb. Since 1894, the focus of our ministry is worship and witness, as we declare the victory of the risen Christ. The Garden Tomb is a rock-cut tomb in Jerusalem, which was unearthed in 1867, is considered by some Protestants to be the site of the burial and resurrection of Jesus. The tomb has been dated by Israeli archaeologist Gabriel Barkay to the 8th–7th. Walk in the wilderness of Judea. The Judean Desert or Judean Desert is a desert in Israel and the West Bank that lies east of Jerusalem and descends to the Dead Sea. It stretches from the northeastern Negev to the east of Beit El, and is marked by natural terraces with escarpments. Because of its lack of water and good roots, the Judean wilderness has been mostly uninhabited throughout history. Consequently, it was an ideal place for those seeking refuge from enemies or retreat from the world. When on the run from King Saul, David hid in various places in the Judean wilderness. Also, John the Baptist preached here, and it seems likely that this was the wilderness where Jesus was tempted. Climb Golgotha. Calvary, or Golgotha, was according to the canonical Gospels, a site immediately outside Jerusalem's walls where Jesus was crucified. The canonical Gospels use the coin term when testifying to the place outside Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified. Walk the Via Dolorosa in Old City Jerusalem. The Via Dolorosa is a processional route in the Old City of Jerusalem, Israel, believed to be the path that Jesus walked on the way to his crucifixion. The route has been established by tradition rather than archaeological evidence. The final stations of the crucifixion and burial are within the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The route is in the Old City of Jerusalem. The Via Dolorosa, which means Way of Sorrows, is about a half-mile long, or just under 1 kilometer. So, this was all about the nation of Israel. Hope you liked this video. If you want to see more of these videos, let me know by subscribing to this channel and pressing the bell icon. Thank you, and see you next time with another video. Bye.